I want to give you an unbelievable update about Tisha B'Av. Record-breaking number of Jews ascended the Temple Mount, around 4,000. Why does this matter? Because the more Jews who ascend the Temple Mount, the more all Jews are able to internalize that the Temple Mount isn't just a holy religious site. It is the heart of our identity and future, and the expectation of us fulfilling our God-given role to humanity. The temple and its rebuilding are national goals, not just religious dreams. This is about Jewish sovereignty, purpose, and destiny. For too long, the holiday of Tisha B'Av has been confined to the walls of the synagogue, observed through whispered prayers, mournful dirges, and fasting bodies. But it's time that we wake up and realize something. Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the Jewish month of Av, is not just a religious day. It is a national one that every single Jew, especially every Jew in Israel, should be commemorating. Due to a long exile, we've been sold a limited view by our rabbis and teachers that Tisha B'Av is about religion, about ritual, about a list of do's and don'ts to do on a fast day. But step back. Look at what we are actually commemorating. The destruction of our first and second temples in Jerusalem, the national centers of Jewish sovereignty, spirituality, and unity. We are mourning the loss of Jerusalem, of our independence, of sovereignty over our ancestral homeland, of our ability to live freely in our own land under a shared destiny. Tisha B'Av is not just about personal religiosity. It is about national identity. We remember the burning of the first temple and second temples, not simply as religious structures, but as the beating heart of a free and sovereign Jewish nation. We remember the Crusades, the Inquisition, the pogroms, the Holocaust, not as random tragedies that murdered millions of Jews over the centuries, but as coordinated attempts to destroy us, the Jewish people, because we dared to exist as a unique nation with a divine mission. And now we add October 7th, 2023, a day when we were once again slaughtered because we are Jews in our own land. On October 7th, our enemies reminded us of a truth we can never afford to forget. They target us not because of what we believe, how we vote, or where we live, but simply because we are Jews. It didn't matter to our Islamo-Nazi terrorist enemies on October 7th whether their victims were religious or secular, right-wing settlers, or left-wing peace activists living in kibbutzim along the Gaza border. Jews of all backgrounds were massacred with the same hatred, the same cruelty, and the same intent to destroy us as a people. That day shattered the illusion that ideology or lifestyle or where we live can protect us. It was a brutal wake-up call. To our enemies, we are one people, and we are hated for who we are, not what we do or where we live. And here is the connection. Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the Jewish month of Av, has survived only because religious Jews clung to its message for 2,000 years. Had religious Jews not fasted, not sat on the floor, not cried over the reciting of the Eicha and Jerusalem, none of us would even know that Tisha B'Av exists today. It is the religious Jews who preserved the memory, they preserved the pain, and most importantly, they preserved the hope for all the Jewish people. And now it's time for the whole Jewish people, not just the religious, especially in Israel, to reclaim Tisha B'Av, not religiously, but nationally. This is the great awakening of our generation that October 7th has sparked, understanding that we are not merely a religion, that we are all connected as a people, a nation, one with a language, a land, a mission, and a history. Religious ritual is not the end goal. It's the glue, the framework, the secret sauce that allowed us, the Jewish people, to survive thousands of years of exile and persecution, and to get to this day back as sovereign in our ancestral homeland when every other ancient people has vanished. But survival was never the goal. Redemption is the goal. Tisha B'Av must become a day when every Jew, regardless of their background, pauses to remember what we lost: our home, our sovereignty, our unity, our mission as a people. and it must become a day to dream, to reignite our national vision of returning fully to our lands, building a just and moral society rooting in our eternal values based on the Torah, because God is moral. And yes, rebuilding our temple, the symbol of our people's unity and divine purpose. We've returned to our land. We've built up our cities. But the story is not finished until we restore the heart of our nation in Jerusalem where it always belonged, the temple. Ultimately, every Jew living in Israel today is here because somewhere in their family line, there were religious ancestors who preserved Jewish identity through following the mitzvot, staying close to the Torah and tradition, often under impossible conditions. It's thanks to their devotion that Jewish continuity was possible across centuries of exile, persecution, and dispersion. Today, the challenge is no longer survival in exile, but ensuring that Jewish identity remains strong in a sovereign Jewish state. That means reclaiming our traditions, not just as private religious practices, but as national treasures, the spiritual and cultural backbone of our people. If we want our children and grandchildren to remain part of the Jewish story, we must embrace our heritage as a living inheritance and recognize that the dream of full Jewish sovereignty back in our ancestral homeland with a rebuilt temple in Jerusalem is not just a religious duty. It's a national responsibility for every single one of us. We must rise up and start listening to those voices who stop relegating Tisha B'Av to a religious day. We must make it what it truly is, a national day of Jewish memory, mourning, and mission. We are in a national wake-up mode, not just to cry over what we lost, but to build what we must become. Am Yisrael Chai. If you are not yet a subscriber to our daily, belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect, truthful videos about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world, what are you waiting for? Go to pulsevisual.com and click to subscribe today. And yes, we are a donor-based operation. We need your donations for support in order to make these videos and get our videos seen and do all the work we do. So every once in a while, whether a large donation or a small donation, just go to pulsevisual.com and click on the donate button. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.